Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Colburn of Market Street Writers in Leesburg, Virginia, and I am honored to be hosting this special event to celebrate the launch of Rebecca Whitecotton's latest book, Pull Yourself Together. So before we start, just a couple of housekeeping things. One is that we are recording tonight's event. So if you do not wish to be visible on the recording, go ahead and turn off your video. Everyone is muted right now, so feel free to leave notes in the chat for Rebecca if you want to say hi or you want to congratulate her on this spectacular achievement. Please do so. But please don't put any questions in there yet. We'll have an opportunity for question and answer at the end of the program. So now it is my pleasure to officially welcome and introduce our author. So with Pull Yourself Together, Rebecca Whitecotton adds interdimensional traveler to her list of job titles, which have included reporter, editor, and children's book author. Rebecca loves to think and write about spirituality, philosophy, meditation, and quantum physics. Her award-winning spiritual children's book, Child of Mine, Know This, was hailed by Neil Donald Walsh as, quote, the single most imaginative children's book to come along in ages. Rebecca has lived a nomadic life, living in 15 houses in 7 states in 27 years, thanks to her husband Randy's Air Force career. She and Randy are the proud parents of Ethan and Allison. And now let's welcome our author.
Hi, thank you, Lisa. I am so excited to be here with everybody tonight to celebrate the release of this book into the world. It has definitely been a long and interesting road that brought me here, and I met a lot of you along the way. And I thought I would be more nervous than excited, but honestly, as I saw all your names appear on the attendee list, my heart just filled up with joy, and seeing you here is amazing. And some of you, I know who you are, and it means so much to have you support me. And then there are others of you who are here that I don't know. And that encourages me because it means you're actually interested in the book. So I want to give a shout out to my parents, Jean and Marcy Gitrich. They ordered this beautiful lei from Hawaii for tonight, and it smells incredible. It almost didn't make it because of the weather that we've had here in Louisiana, but miracles happened and it got to be here. So and I'm thrilled that Lisa agreed to host this for me. She has been one of my major encouragers, and I appreciate all the effort she's put in to make sure we have a great time tonight. So should we get started, Lisa?
It's my pleasure. So we thought we'd start with a couple of questions for the author, get her thoughts on various matters. So the first one is, what was your inspiration for this book?
Well, when we lived in Hawaii in 2004, I had an experience of seeing visions of an alternate version of myself. It was a version of me who went another way at a major choice point in my life. And at the time, I thought it was a vision of my future. And that was terrifying because my present life would have to crumble to get me to that point. And through an interesting experience that I explain in the book, I realized that what I was seeing wasn't my future self, but a version of me from a parallel timeline. So this was a mind-blowing idea, but at the time I just said, wow, that's kind of cool. And I went about my life. And then years later, I was in a very different place. I found myself depressed and disconnected and living with what I call spiritual amnesia. And I felt detached from the emotions of my memories, and my strong spiritual connection was gone. So finally, I hit a low point and I knew I had to do something. So I turned to meditation and journaling, and that led me back around to the idea of alternate realities. So it turns out that when I looked at my life from the perspective of my higher self, who can see all the different versions of me there are, I realized that I was part of a team and that I was important to the whole, even though I didn't accomplish something that I wanted to do. So that is essentially what the book is about. And dimensional wholeness is seeing how your third dimensional self fits into the whole vast being of your higher self that exists in higher dimensions.
Wow. Okay, thank you. I noticed reading this book that it is really pretty raw and personal and in places. And I was wondering, how did you find the courage to tell your story?
Well, I didn't start out being courageous. Um, I actually didn't set out to write a book about this. I was healing my emotional pain with meditation and journaling, which included talking with my higher self and writing that conversation down in my journal. So I kept getting nudges that if I shared how I healed, that others would find healing in it as well. So my immediate response to that was nope. Too personal, too crazy. But the problem was that my goal was to get to the place where I was connected enough to spirit that I trusted what the voice of my spirit said. So after a while with the nudges, I finally said, okay, if I'm supposed to write the book, make it obvious and make it easy. So within the next few weeks, I opened an email about a transformational author breakthrough program led by Christine Closer, who's a transformational author coach. And I signed up, and at the end of the program, there was an opportunity to submit a book proposal in a contest. So I submitted a proposal and won the grand prize. So I have to admit that when I saw the notice that I won, my immediate reaction was, oh crap, now I have to do this. And I couldn't deny that my spirit made it pretty obvious and pretty easy. So I started to think of it as a book.
And I know after you won the contest, I remember you actually called me that morning saying, I won. And but you also had some reservations, even after winning, even after getting that affirmation. So how'd you move past that?
Well, I've had encouragement from so many people, a lot of people from the transformational author community who are here now, and from friends, from people who I shared the book with and just talked with about it. People like Janice Coyle and all kinds of people. And every time I shared it with somebody, I got a little braver. And I was running into people who thought what I was writing about was normal. I met Joe Mancini at a metaphysical expo where he did a workshop on using hypnosis to connect with parallel timelines. And I shared my book with him, and he didn't think it was out there at all. So essentially, I followed through on publishing this book because I wanted to let my spirit know that I was willing to be her authentic voice in the world. And I want to be the version of me who's brave enough to see where this goes.
Great. I have one more question for you, which is we're starting to see more novels and movies about alternate realities and parallel universes. And what do you think is going on?
Well, I totally love that there are so many things out about this right now. I really believe that there are ideas waiting to be known that are floating around in the universe, whispering in people's ears and looking for someone to take action on it. So when I see all these books and movies about alternate realities, I get excited because it tells me that this is an idea that's ready to be known. So recently I read The Midnight Library. Has anybody read The Midnight Library? Oh my gosh. It's a novel about a woman who gets to experience the different versions of her life. And it's been on the bestseller list for months. It's awesome. Read my book first and then read that one. It's so similar to mine in a lot of different ways, including the conclusion and the main message of the book. And so I won't say anything because we don't want there to be any spoilers for either one. But and then, of course, the big difference is that The Midnight Library is fiction, and I consider these possibilities to be real. So if I were more competitive, I might be disappointed that Matt Haig published The Midnight Library before I could publish Pull Yourself Together. But I have a different view, and his success has totally encouraged me. There's a concept called simultaneous discovery, where people think of the same thing at the same time and they bring it to life in different ways. It happens with things like, I think the light bulb was one example that somebody in some other country just had invented it also at the same time. And I just think that that's happening now with the multiverse and possibilities of alternate realities and parallel timelines.
Well, thank you. Well, I think this is the perfect time to hear an excerpt from your book.
Okay. All right. Well, let me show you all the book. So I haven't received the copies that don't say not for resale in front of it. We just got our first mail delivery in 9 days here in Louisiana because of snow. So anyway, but this is Pull Yourself Together. Isn't it pretty? And I'm going to read you the introduction. Introduction. An alternate version of me from a different reality reached through the dimensions and showed me how to rescue myself. Let's just get that right out in the open so you know this is a real life adventure that might sound like science fiction, and you can decide whether or not you're going to continue reading. I don't want to get ahead of myself and ruin the unfolding of the story, but I think you should know that there is a lot more to our existence than what most people call reality. My experience on the edge of the tangible world is a journey into dimensional realities that you can explore too, if you're interested. For a lot of people, my story will sound crazy. There's a fine line between crazy and sane, and everyone I know draws that line in a different spot. I've been straddling other people's crazy lines for a little too long, so I'm ready to draw my own line out in the open and see if anyone's willing to join me. The truth is, I've been there all along, and I've just been hiding, pretending to be something I'm not, pretending to be normal. And that is what's making me crazy. I imagine countless other people like me, quietly keeping our true selves hidden, while we present an outward appearance that conforms to what we have been led to believe is normal. Maybe it's time we show each other who we really are. Our popular culture is filled with science fiction ideas of alternate realities and parallel universes, worlds just slightly different from ours that exist as a result of different choices made by individuals and collectives. Many people, including me, see these worlds as a plausible reality, and that is where this story goes to play. Join me now in a world of quantum possibility and alternate dimensions, and find out what I mean by dimensional wholeness. Here's a glimpse. When you change your perception to include a universe of infinite possible timelines, you realize that every path will be taken by a different version of you. So there are no mistakes. There is only experience. There is nothing to regret. One of you had to do what you have done. You are the version of you who experienced one outcome of your choices. And as a result, the other versions of you experienced the other choices. Are they happier than you are? Are they crumbled in pain? Are they crying out to the universe for help? What if you, this version of you, were the help the others were waiting for? Your choices in reading this book. If you choose, Pull Yourself Together can be a blueprint for your healing and discovery of a greater sense of wholeness by connecting with other versions of yourself in alternate realities. As you read, think of me sitting across from you at your kitchen table, ready to share my innermost secrets because I want you to feel the same sense of wholeness that I feel. The Dimensional Wholeness Guide that follows the story will inspire your exploration of these ideas. You'll find affirmations, meditations, journal prompts, questions, and theme songs designed to help you pull yourself together into dimensional wholeness. You can also use bonus materials and meditations available at dimensionalwholeness.com, and you can follow Dimensional Wholeness on Facebook for other ideas and resources. When you're reading, if you find parallels to your life and it makes you stare into space thinking about your journey, flip back to the guide for that chapter and take some action. Pull yourself together. The mind-blowing possibility is that once you seriously consider a choice, the individual third dimensional you will take one path, while the universal you, the fifth dimensional you, will experience it all, every choice. To read the book or not, to do the exercises or not, to work to become whole or not. Indeed, consider the possibility that because you are consciously facing this choice right now, there is one of you who is going to follow this to completion. There's one of you who is going to be able to pull all yourselves together. Wouldn't it be exciting if it were you? Let's get started. So that's the introduction. I mentioned the use of theme songs, and for each chapter of the guide, I picked a song from one of my favorite New Thought musicians, including Karen Drucker, Daniel Nahmod, Greg Tamblyn, and Bob Sima. My own spiritual healing had a lot to do with music, and I wanted to pass on that experience to my readers. Doesn't that sound good? My readers. I think music has a way of allowing a message to wiggle into our consciousness and stick with us. So I asked Bob Sima and Shannon Plummer if they would join us here and sing one of the theme songs that I picked for my book. And I thought I should have them sing two songs since they were coming, and I looked to find another one that would be appropriate. And when I listened to the words to the song that they're going to sing, Insignificant Somethings, I was blown away by how perfect it is to share in song what Pull Yourself Together is about. I had listened to it probably hundreds of times before, but then when I actually thought of it in this context, it's just so perfect. So I'm sure that I look at the meaning a little bit differently than Bob did when he wrote it, but that's the beauty of anything written, isn't it? So um, I love especially the last line in the chorus, which is, "We may not have it all together, but together we have it all." And that's the truth, isn't it? Together we have it all. So I'd like to introduce to you Bob Simon and Shannon Plummer, amazing musicians, the founders of the nonprofit organization Where the Light Gets In. And after you hear them tonight, you are going to want to check them out on Facebook or their website, wherethelightgetsin.us, so you can be relentlessly inspired. So we turn it over to you, Bob and Shannon.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Lisa. Oh my gosh. I know I was listening to your reading going, well, no wonder you picked that song. That's perfect.
Right.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that first song, but now I know. And I don't know, I wrote it in an alternate, reality right before you were writing the book. So the person that wrote that song is still here, and I know exactly what you were just talking about. So here we go. I won't lie, I love to cry. I got a raging river inside, but my mind doesn't know when to let my heart go, and my soul won't let me hide. I'm a dreamer, I'm kind of lazy, but I call my crazy crazy. I'm a wreck, I'm a holy mess, and I'm sacredly awake. I'm not here because it's home. I'm not lost, and I know I'm not alone. Cause I see it in your eyes, and I see it in the stars, and I see it everywhere. But the same thing that pains me, well, it pains you. What if we are everything and we're nothing? Are we insignificant something? Are we hardly innocent, purely magnificent pieces of one thing? And we rise and we fall, and we run and we walk and we crawl. Well, we might not have it all together, but together we have it all. I see you in me, and me in you. And the lines get crossed and blurry, and I worry, and I get so confused because we hurt from our hurt, and we fear from our worst, and we love from the love that we won't drink of. It's an endless bottomless thirst, and I have found that it matters that the past has passed. If you dare to let it go, when you stare down the ghost, come and go, stop staring at. And the same thing that pains me, well, it pains you. What if we are everything and we're nothing? Are we insignificant something? Are we hardly innocent, pure and magnificent pieces of one thing? And we rise and we fall, and we run and we walk and we crawl. Well, we might not have it all together, but together we have it all. And when you see me, you can know me. I'm a little bit of her and him. I'm a little bit of me and you. There are no strangers. We're in danger of missing out on this truth that there are sages and there are queens. There's a seen and there is the unseen. When you gaze in the mirror, will it ever get clearer? Can you wake up from this dream? And there are lies before your eyes. We're all wrapped up in the disguise. Well, the truth is no fool, but it goes by many names and many languages and many fames. Stop seeking, it's seeking you. Be still and you know that it's true. You don't believe that there's a man by the river with a bucket of water to sell to you. same thing that pains me. Well, it pains you. What if we are everything and we're nothing? Are we insignificant somethings? Are we hardly innocent, pure magnificent pieces of one thing? And we rise and we fall, and we run and we walk and we crawl. Well, we may not have it all together, but together we have it all.
Thank you, Bob and Shannon. How beautiful. Thank you. So now we would like to ask a couple of people who have read the book to give us some feedback, give a little testimonial. And so Janice Coyle, you are up. Thank you very much.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Guys, I have been so blessed and lucky to have been connected with Rebecca during this whole process of her writing this book. I remember in the beginning, about 4 years ago, she was a little bit hesitant to write such a thing. She was afraid of what people would think. They'd think she was crazy and stuff. And we didn't know each other too well then. And I guess she was surprised when I said, well, this is mainstream in quantum physics. Remember I said that? Yeah. So anyway, she was wondering about it. And I was there, I saw, and I know how much courage it took back then to write this book. And during the course of her writing, I read the manuscript. And as it was being written and I read more and more, I got more and more and more inspired and excited. Her honesty, her courage to bare her soul, her spiritual insights, her dedication and perseverance. I mean, amazing. In writing this book about parallel lives, Rebecca is on the wave of pioneering. I'm a voracious reader and into science and everything. And there aren't very many books like the one she has written. There are some books about this, but I haven't ever seen any book so graphically personal. So in writing this, Rebecca is helping to open up new awareness. Her own direct experience gives this whole subject authenticity and believability. And it's going to bring something new into mainstream spirituality. New insights about who we are, new possibilities for us, new ways to heal, insights and wisdom that expands our consciousness. And thank goodness, don't we need it these days? Totally spirit driven. So Rebecca has written a book that is current, unique, touching, engaging, insightful, healing, consciousness expanding, and beautifully, beautifully written. And if that's not enough, it also happens to be a total page turner. Right? So go and read it, and I hope you're as touched and expanded as I have been. Rebecca, thank you for allowing me to be with you in this process and to be so inspired by you. You are a hero. I love you, Rebecca. You did it. Congratulations. Bye.
Thank you, Janice. Now I'd like to hear from Marlo Nikila.
Oh, hello, everybody. Oh, Janice, that was beautiful. Hard to follow with how eloquent you had the privilege to know Rebecca for quite a while. I consider her one of my dearest soul sisters. And I feel like in a lot of ways, I can relate to what it feels like to come out of the woo-woo closet since you witnessed me doing that when we lived in Hawaii. And one thing I just want to brag about Rebecca in this book in particular is that the art on her book cover is hers. And so she's not only writing about multidimensional, she's very multidimensional in all of her talents. And I think that's one of the things I really appreciate and value. This isn't just a story that you get to sit back and read, even though that is amazing all in of itself, but it's really a way for you to apply this to your own life. And I think that that just takes it to a whole other level that I think makes this even more special. And one of the things that I'll just drop a seed for any of you who end up loving this book and loving this experience. Rebecca and I are in the planning stages of creating a retreat together so that we can really hold space for people experiencing this more in an intimate setting. So I'm really excited about partnering with you, Rebecca, and playing in this way. And, you know, I'm also mentioned in the book, which I'm really honored by, because when you first spoke about spiritual amnesia, like it was really intriguing. And I remember when you were here, I guess a couple of years ago, and you mentioned that you're writing this book and you spoke about dimensional wholeness, like there's just something in the cells of my body that just like, oh yes, that feels so right and so true. And thank you for bringing this message and this way of being with ourselves that is really integrative and super powerful and super fun. So even though there's heaviness and there's, you know, lots of different experiences, I feel like there's a playfulness that gets to be expressed in a beautiful way. So I love you, Rebecca. Congratulations. And I'm so excited for all of you to get a chance to read this book. It's going to be an amazing experience and an adventure.
Thank you, Marlo. Lovely. Thanks, Janice and Marlo. So now, Rebecca, I think it's time to read another chapter.
Okay, yes, I just have to say how grateful I am for both of you, Janice and Marlo. I really don't think the book would be here without either one of you, so I appreciate you. Okay, so the chapter that I'm going to read, it's somewhere in the middle of the book. It's chapter 27. Don't worry, the chapters are short, so do not be daunted by the number of chapters in the book. It's called Superhero. I finally took action and set aside some time for a retreat away from the house and work and daily life, so I would have the time and space to connect. When I met with Lisa and Janice, my two mastermind and writing partners, we lamented how we had not made time for ourselves and our writing, so we cleared our calendars and made reservations to put ourselves first. Feeling good about the decision to get away, I drove to the retreat center in the mountains of Pennsylvania and decided that I would meditate and write and see what happened. If I was supposed to write about losing my identity and forgetting who I am, then that's what I would write about. If I was inspired to write about alternate realities, then I would do that. If I wrote about frogs jumping through hula hoops, I'd follow that path and see where it took me. My cabin was spacious and had a comfy chair to meditate in, as well as a regular padded office chair that I sat in with my feet up on the legs of a drop leaf table, typing on my 27-inch iMac that I carried across 3 states because I didn't own a laptop. I knew that in the morning when I opened my curtains, I would see the woods and be greeted by nature as I drank my coffee. The setting was perfect. I was so happy to be there. As I rearranged my room, I decided to put on some music. When I opened the music app, the first thing my eyes fell on was a Tom Kenyon album cover. As I opened that folder, I smiled, and I knew I was being guided when I read the track title, Alternate Realities and the Left and Right Hemisphere. Tom Kenyon explained that the doorway to the fifth dimension, which is outside of time and space, resides in the right hemisphere of the brain. When we delve into the expansiveness of the right hemisphere, we can release the constraints of the third dimension, space, and the fourth dimension, time. He said that shamanic traditions consider these experiences to be real, while Western traditions say it is just a trick of the brain. But Kenyon, who came from a scientific background, said that whether the experiences are real or imaginary, they can affect the brain and biochemistry of the entire body because the body and brain interpret it as real. With that recording, Tom Kenyon released me from the need to know whether what I had been experiencing was real or not, because either way, I can physically and emotionally be affected by the experiences I have in meditation. This understanding released me from needing to make logical, rational sense of what happens in my right brain. What I experience can heal me, even if it can't be proven in Western scientific tradition. With that permission to release rational explanation, my mind turned to alternate universes, parallel realities, and different versions of me and how it all fits together in the grand scheme of things. I opened my journal and started writing. If, as some people believe, a different reality can be created with each major choice, then there are dozens or hundreds or thousands of versions of me all existing at the same time, trying out different experiences. A version of me has a wildly successful children's book and is a sought-after speaker with spiritual parenting groups. A version of me interviewed a well-known actress and helped her write a column for a magazine. I mean, what was I thinking when I said no to that? A version of me studied science instead of journalism. A version of me chose to stay in the matrix and never remember who she is. But I am this version of me, and I have a role to play in my vast, expanding universe. If, on the day that I could step into any version of myself, I chose to step into this version of me, what would be my purpose? Why would I choose this version? Why would I step into a broken life? The broken part is the part that has to pull the rest of my soul back together. The broken part of me is the superhero. The broken part is aware of what is missing, the part of my soul that is missing, and if it's not too shattered, fights like hell to become whole again. Oh my goodness, maybe that is hell, being so broken you don't remember who you are. The version of me that made all the right choices and got all the lucky breaks is happy and content and sits in joy somewhere in the mountains or looking out over the ocean. She can't be bothered with thinking she isn't whole and looking to retrieve those aspects of herself that are missing. No, she's so happy she is complacent. She doesn't realize what is missing. Most people don't question the complexity of wholeness when they are happy. They don't say, hey, where's that part of me that can't stop crying? Where's the part of me that's in pain? No, when everything is going right, you ride the wave. You are grateful. You may be connected, but you are only connected to a part of you. It's possible, I suppose, that you could recognize this separateness, that you could realize that there is a version of you that is broken, and that you could be strong enough to reach through the ethers and hold her hand and say, you've got this. We are in this together. You are a part of me, and I am a part of you. We are not whole until we are together. As I typed, My heart filled with love, and I began to cry. I felt a pressure on my hand and the energy of an arm around my shoulder, pulling me into an embrace. The part of me that was happy reached through the veil that separates us and comforted me. She heard me and answered my call. My higher self placed herself at the keyboard. Different versions of you can reach through the ethers and touch each other. That is what you are doing. You can bring them all together. You had to be in a place of pain to even think of looking for this answer. This is what you need to write: The Healing Power of Dimensional Wholeness. And that brings me to the next theme song. So I want to once again introduce Bob and Shannon to sing No Mud, No Lotus, which is one of the theme songs in the Dimensional Wholeness Guide.
Thank you. Hey, everybody, just wanted to say sorry the sound was a little off before, but we didn't have our mics on. We thought we could just do this casual and just be like right here with you. We put our mics on. Can you hear us okay? Say something, honey.
Hello.
All right, so you can hear us okay? All right. You hear the guitar okay? All right.
Yeah, we're good.
Let's do a little sound check. All right. So here we go. No mud, no lotus. No mud, no lotus. Haven't you noticed the patterns of the pain in your past? The things that broke you, well, they also woke you to the questions that you needed to ask. Sleepless nights and dizzying heights, and the dreams, some of which came true. Tough breaks, heartaches, perfect mistakes created this version of you. And everything you go through grows you. Grows you. And everything you go through grows you. Exposes who you are. If it hurt, it made you softer. If it was hard, it fueled the hunger. If it touched you, your heart took hold. If it was simple, it made you wise. If it was sweet, it made you smile. Leave that indelible impression on your soul. Your feet, they walked, and your lips, they talked, and your hands dug around for the proof. Every look, every book, picture in your mind that you took created this version of you. And everything you go through grows you. Grows you. And everything you go through grows you. Exposes the roots of an endless summer, part revealing the masterpiece just beneath the skin. And in the glow of your own light, your petals open wide, and you bloom right where you are. Everything you go through grows you, and everything you go through grows you, exposes who you are. No mud, no lotus, haven't you noticed the patterns of the pain in your past? The things that broke you, well, they also woke you to the questions that you need to ask.
Thank you, Bob and Shannon. What a treat. Oh my gosh, how perfect. Thank you. All right, so now we're going to hear from a couple of other early readers. Carolee Egan, if you would join us.
Yes. When Rebecca asked me to read this book, she did not tell me what the book was about. She just said, I'm writing a book. Would you care to read this book for me and, give me some thoughts? Because she knew that I was a long time student of metaphysics and esoterics. And when I read the book, it was hard for me to believe that she was bringing forth this concept again, because Jane Roberts wrote The Nature of Reality and Seth Speaks in the early 70s. And Seth Speaks was the hottest book around at the time. And I had a metaphysical newspaper, and I did a review on that book. So here it was again. And it is such a freeing concept that it takes us out of just having to live in a three-dimensional world. I have not experienced this, but I know that it's possible. And I am so thrilled that the universe is bringing it forth again at this time in so many ways. I just am thrilled to be part of this and to be able to see truth come forth so that people are not so, they don't feel as if they have made mistakes. This will show them that there's never any mistakes. After reading this book, and just recently, I had to say, what did I wish had been different in my life? And I can honestly say nothing. Everything that I have experienced, the good and the bad, has brought me to where I am today. And I'm eternally grateful for my life and for everyone in it. So good luck on this book. It's going to be wonderful. And I know that it's going to be just as popular as this subject was, but it was too early before. Now the time is here. A bestseller is what it's going to be.
Thank you so much, Carolee. Wonderful. Ellen Monsies.
Thank you, Lisa. Rebecca, congratulations. I am so thrilled for you. I met Rebecca a few years ago at a writing retreat, and whether it was divine timing or law of attraction or simple serendipity, we discovered that we were both writing about a very similar concept, but in very different ways. The work that I do is around recognizing all of the selves that make up who you are in this timeline, in this life. So I look at all the past versions of yourself, your present self, and I work with people to help them make choices and decisions that will manifest whichever future versions of themselves they most want to have come into this timeline, this life. And so when Rebecca and I talked, and we realized that we're really working on the same concept in different dimensions, right? So it just made, it certainly made me, and I think it also made her feel like, wow, this really is the right time. It's one of those simultaneous ideas, but done just sort of from a slightly different perspective. And I have to say, now that I've read Rebecca's book, I'm even more excited and blown away by the vastness of her concept and how she brings it to the reader so personally, and that it touches, the book touches your mind and your imagination, but also so much touches your heart and your soul. Because, excuse me, my cat is coming into the picture. because because she is brave enough, courageous enough, and loving enough to share her entire self with us. And I thank you for that. Having read your book, I am even more compassionate with myself. And it's that, again, that concept that Carolee was talking about, how there can't be a mistake. You cannot make a mistake because some other version of yourself is doing the other thing. And that is so freeing and so loving a concept. And thank you, Rebecca. I love you. I love this book. And it is going to make the world a more loving and compassionate place.
So true, Ellen. Thank you very much for that. So if you find that your interest is piqued after hearing a few excerpts, hearing some testimonials, hearing music that supports the message, I want to let you know that Rebecca's book is available on Amazon in Kindle or ebook and paperback. So Rebecca will put a link in the chat to go directly to the book. The ebook right now is a special price of $2.99. Eventually it will be $9.99. I'm not sure when, but right now there's a special price for $2.99, and the paperback is $16.99. If you buy a paperback and you want a signed book plate to put in it, you can send Rebecca an email or contact her through her website, and she will put her email in the chat as well. Also, if you know you want the book, it would be helpful if you purchased it this week. It has to do with Amazon algorithms, the mysteries thereof. And it means the book will be suggested more if you decide to purchase it this week. And also, if you consider writing a review on Goodreads or Amazon, that would be helpful as well. One more thing, Rebecca is offering a workshop at Unity of Fairfax on March 6th, Saturday, March 6th, where she's going to dive into the concepts of the book, and she'll include some meditation and journaling. So she'll send a follow-up email after this event with details about that workshop, but stay tuned for that. So over to you, Rebecca.
Okay, so we are going to have some time for questions and answers. We said that this was going to be an hour, so I'm going to do some thank yous, but we're willing to stick around. But if anybody needs to leave after an hour, that's totally fine. And we'll allow everybody to be able to unmute after that. We just knew we had a lot of people coming to this call, so we had everybody mute at the beginning. So I just want to, there are so many people that made this book possible. It wouldn't have come out if it was just me. First, I want to say thank you to Randy, my husband, who's downstairs watching because I told him he would be distracting if he sat in here with me. Because this is his story too. It's not his interpretation of the story, it's mine, but he generously is allowing me to tell it, even though he's not quite so sure about these alternate realities. and also Ethan and Allison, my kids, who you know, they have to be my kids, and they're kind of in the book too, but and a very special shout out to Lisa and Janice, who both spoke, because we have been meeting in a writing group and a mastermind and just supporting each other in writing and in life since 2016 or 2017, I can't remember, but you mean the world to me, so I appreciate you. And next, I'm just so thankful for Christine Closer, who is transformational author coach, and she is inspirational and intuitive and full of wisdom and common sense, and the retreats and guidance that she leads were invaluable to me. But I think most of all, I appreciate that that she believed in me, because it gave me a reason to actually be confident enough to do this. Because otherwise, if I didn't have some outside source saying, you should do this, then I probably wouldn't have, because it's a little bit scary. So, and then that brings me to Carrie Jareed, who actually, Lisa, we need to unmute her, but
Already done. I've already.
oh, you're so good. So Carrie is the productive mastermind in the Kapusha Publishing process, and she worked with me through editing and book design and was so patient every time I wanted something different with the cover, which I think I used the cover as my way to just make it take a little bit longer to get out because I wasn't so sure. I don't know. But Carrie, I so appreciate all that you do. And I think you said that you wanted to say something. I do not see you, so I'm not sure where you are.
That's okay. I'm actually right beside you, but I don't know where you are on the screen. But thank you. I appreciate you inviting me. It's been a pleasure to just sit back and listen to all of the wonderful kudos that you're getting. I've had the awesome opportunity to have been with Rebecca in person and been with her on this journey in a very different way. And I've also had the pleasure of seeing in person Bob and Shannon, and not necessarily music. I would just go say, oh, I'm going to get this kind of music. But I do have to tell you, I really do love their music because I've gotten to listen to it and it really does hit home. So thank you both for being here and for singing these songs. It really has been really inspiring and awesome. And Rebecca's book would be a book that really is a little over my head, just saying. But I've loved listening to everyone's perspective that got to speak. And I just am really grateful to have supported you in a different way to be able to see your book come across the finish line. And I have grown through Rebecca as well, because there was a lot of patience with Rebecca, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And but it has taught me something as well. So I'm grateful for the experience and to have been working with Rebecca. And as your friend said, and I can't remember because I don't see her now, but the one that's running everything for you, it is really great if anybody that's getting Rebecca's book can pop a review on Amazon, because that is truly the way that people find more out about the book. And the more reviews that Rebecca has out there, the more likely it will get seen by other people. And that really is what we want to see for Rebecca. So anybody that's already bought, pop that review. And anybody that hasn't purchased, grab that $2.99 ebook. I've actually already downloaded. I can't put a review because I'm the publisher, and so I'm biased and therefore not allowed. But I would encourage everybody that's on here to hop off and grab a copy. And thank you, Rebecca, for letting me be here with you tonight and sharing this night. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. And I did get to spend some time with Carrie on the beach in the Bahamas, which was pretty awesome. And Ellen was there too. So, definitely can't complain about that. I also want to do a shout out to all of the other authors from the transformational author community. If there are any other authors out there or people who are writing or think they have a book in them, I know Christine has a something coming up, and I'm going to put a link in the chat. It's if anybody's interested in finding out more about working with her. I just want to say thanks to my early readers, Lisa Colburn, Janice Coyle, Jean Getrich, Marcy Getrich, James Jones, Joe Mancini, Marlo Nikila, and Randy Whitecotton. And finally, I want to just thank all of you who showed up to celebrate with me. I truly, truly appreciate all of you who are here to support me, and especially appreciate those of you who are here to support me, even though you don't understand or agree with what I think. It means the world to me. So, so thank you for coming. And I believe we are going to do some Q&A if anybody has any questions.
Yes, and we'll stay on until questions are answered. So since we have a lot of people here, what I suggest is that you use the raise hand function, which I believe you can find in reactions down across the bottom. I think there's something there that will raise your hand, and then I will see it in my participant list and I can call your name. So because I can't see everyone on my screen. So that way we'll get your question. So I see one already from Gary Nicky. Go ahead, Gary.
Hi, Rebecca. I just want to say it's beautiful, and it was so great to hear you reading it. I just love you and appreciate you, and aloha. And is that true? You're going to be in Fairfax for your
well, it's going to be a virtual event, sponsored with Unity of Fairfax. So
that's great. Looking forward to it. And thanks to your husband and family for supporting you and for serving, and bless you, and love it. It's great. Thank you.
Gary. Thanks. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Gary. All right. Do we have any other questions? I'll say, I'll jump in for the moment and ask you, Rebecca, about your process. I know we have writers in the in the group, if there's anything you want to say about, how you got it done.
Well, I surrounded myself with writing people who support me and who encouraged me, and took some time to do some retreats away from home where all we did was write, which was incredible. And that is at the Highlights Foundation Retreat Center in Pennsylvania, which is just amazing. And also with the transformational author community with Christine Closer, I was able to do the retreats through there. So that, and just trying to write every day. I would sit down every morning and write. But there are places in my book where I talk about how that didn't happen. So you just have to forgive yourself when you don't do it, and then you just, then you try again. So.
Great, thank you. I see we have a question from Helen Rose Gittrich.
Hello, Ravi. Hi.
Hi.
Rebecca. Okay, so I have two questions actually. My first is, what is your favorite part of the book? So kind of like however you take it. So maybe your favorite part that you wrote, or your favorite part, like the final thing that you came to. Maybe it was fun in that process section that you were doing. What was your favorite part of the book? Or what is?
I have to say, probably the first thing that comes to my mind is the few chapters right after the one that I read, the superhero chapter, because that was where it was like, my mind exploded. It seriously did. I got the information I'm not going to say because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but that I think is one of my favorite parts of the book. And the funny thing is, when I got the author copy, I sat down with it and I thought, okay, well, I'm just gonna read a little bit. And I sat down and I read like the whole thing because I was going, oh my gosh, this is actually pretty good. So it's fun to be able to read my own book like as a book when before I was reading it for editing or writing or that kind of thing. So
cool, thanks. And my second question is, what do you most look forward to others reading or like gaining from this?
Oh wow. I guess what I'm looking forward to hearing if other people get that same sense of wow with what I discovered, and if it makes them feel more peaceful with who they are, because it did for me. And that's really what I'm hoping. That's why I'm sharing, because I want people to be able to feel the same, the same sense of wholeness and the same peace with who I am that I feel.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Ravi.
Thanks, Helen.
All right, we have a question from Dr. Kim Harvin.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi.
Rebecca, I don't have a question. I have a few statements I'd like to share with you. First of all, I'm so moved by your courage. We could look up Webster's dictionary, look up the word courage, and your picture could be right there. You are the epitome of courage. And I appreciate the ground that you have broken for those of us who are on our path, who haven't yet experienced this. I'm one of those people on a deep spiritual path, but this is not an avenue I have taken. And I can't wait for the book to arrive on Thursday, and I'll be right there with you. Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. So thank you for being a waymaker and for the love and the light that you give to all of us and to the whole world. And I'd like to challenge you to just open the book and read a paragraph, just whatever spirit guides you to, just open the book and read. Let's see what the message is.
Paragraph.
Well, whatever you feel led to read, but just open the book. Let's see what's there.
Okay, I'll read one paragraph. This is a writing prompt to write the deepest prayer of your body. And the following is what my body said. I have been waiting for you, dear one, to recognize that I am only part of you, to recognize that this physical form is but a stand-in for the spirit that longs to reside within you as well. I am transient and fragile. I am not the whole of you, but I am you, and I long to be cared for in the deepest way. I long to be loved for what I am, the carrier of your soul and the vessel through which you experience this world. I ache for the attention from you that would make me strong and whole, vibrant and alive, so that together we can experience the oneness of body and spirit.
Thank you. I sure needed that message. Thank you so much. What a joy you are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Angelina Thomas.
Angelina.
Angelina, you're muted right now.
Okay. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh. I remember sitting with you in retreat and we were talking about your book and you know what you're going to write about, and I was very like, wow, very intrigued and curious, and I remember how you inspired me to continue reading, to continue writing actually. And I just want to say that even just from the paragraph that you wrote about in the superhero in that chapter, even though it seems to be about a lot of interdimensional wholeness, I feel like it's actually grounding as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing how you're putting it all together so that we can feel the emotional healing and the physical healing as well, and how it's all tied together. And yeah, I am so inspired and I can't wait to read the book.
Thank you, Angelina.
I can't wait. Wow.
And thank you for attending from your car.
Oh, I know. I just got off of work and everything. But let me ask, can I ask you a question?
Oh, yeah.
When we say, like, what is your definition of higher self? Like, to define higher self, are you bringing all the different aspects of ourselves into that higher self? Is it one higher self, or do we have like more than one?
That's a very interesting question. I've never really thought about there possibly being more than one. So yeah, I guess I'm thinking of my higher self, just in the higher dimensions, the higher aspect of me that guides me. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give that some thought in case anybody asks me again, because I hadn't really thought of an actual definition, to be honest.
I guess maybe because when you're talking about all the different parts of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
as from different dimensions,
Yeah,
coming together maybe into that higher self, and we're contacting that like through our lives, I guess. Is that what you're
yeah, that like, so it's, I guess I see it kind of like a pyramid. So you know, we have several different versions of us if alternate realities are real. You know, walking around down here. And then, but from the perspective of, you know, the fifth dimensional you, the higher, you know, your higher self, you are all of that. It encompasses all of that.
Yeah, I love how freeing that is, because like as I'm going through what my experience, my journey, I'm experiencing so many different parts of me now, and growing and learning different things about myself that I would not have otherwise known if I didn't start to write the book that I'm writing. And I'm
Yeah.
starting to discover different parts of myself and try to put that into the book. And as I sit and ask my higher self, okay, what am I going to write? And and I guess, I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to figure out what parts of myself to put in the book. So I guess we put all of us into the book. So when we're asking our higher self, I guess we're asking all the different aspects of ourselves to get, you know, to get into the book, or to get into whatever part of our lives we're at and along our journey, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the higher self is the self that can see, that has a wider vision, that that can see everything.
Yes. Yes. I'm so glad to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful. Wow.
Me too.
I wish you so much luck and so much on your journey with the writing and this and the popularity of your book. I really am so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelina.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else who has a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. I don't see you, but go ahead and talk.
Okay. All right. Yes. All right.
Oh, it's Stella. There you are.
Yes. Yes. I'm here. Yeah. Okay. So since you're kind of like talking about parallel realities in this book, I'm just kind of curious if you ever like talk about like extraterrestrials or things like that, because I noticed that can also sometimes tie into these discussion on parallel realities.
Yes. If there are alternate realities, then there are definitely, and parallel worlds, then there would be other worlds out there that exist with different, you know, there could be another Earth with different beings on it, or there could be, I mean, any number of things. But this book doesn't go into it, but there are a lot of other places that do. Maybe the next book, I don't know.
Okay, well, are you going to get a sequel? Okay. Interesting. All right, yeah. Yeah, I guess that answers the question. And also I wanted to mention that I think earlier in this discussion we also talked about how like some of the people are having lots of similar realizations or similar experiences of like multi-dimensional realities, and how it's all kind of happening at once. And yeah, I guess, yeah, I know for myself, I also had like certain experiences. So I think that is definitely something that's happening a lot right now, and people are starting to notice it more often.
Well, thank you, Della. Thanks for your question and your comments.
Yeah.
It's good to hear from you.
Is there anyone else who has a question? You can hit the raise hand function, or you can just say something. All right, well, I think that might be it, Rebecca.
Okay, well, I so appreciate everybody coming, and I'm sorry that, I couldn't interact individually with all of you, but I'm actually incredibly thankful for the fact that we could do this on Zoom, because if we had done it in person, I would have had a good showing, I'm sure, but this allowed me to just get the love of so many more people. So thank you for coming.